And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to one of my first live streams of 2025. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's feeling well. As always, I want to ask you all before we dive in if everybody can hear me and see me well so we can get started with today's incredible live show about a topic that has left many people around the world completely mystified of what's been going on, what's the truth of what's going on when it comes to, and this is the name of today's live stream, the truth behind the global fog, nature's secret, or something darker. So we're going to be diving into all of it. Before we do, I want to ask you all, as always, where are you tuning in from? Where are you joining from? Whether it's a state, a country, a village, a city, a town, a continent, whatever it may be, where are you tuning in from? I see San Antonio, Texas. I see Boston, Massachusetts, Montana, Newcastle in England, Michigan, Olympia, Washington, Wales, Germany, South Carolina, Baltimore, El Salvador, Chicago, California, New York, Australia, Costa Rica, Seattle, Australia, Kentucky, Hawaii, Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas, King of Prussia, what a name. Washington State, Raleigh, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Quebec. Congratulations, by the way, Justin Trudeau resigned. Congratulations to all my Canadians in the House. Argentina, Phoenix, Michigan, Toro, Utah, Ohio, Norway, California, Michigan, Connecticut, Missouri, Indiana, Pennsylvania, Australia, Portugal, New York State, Florida, Pittsburgh, Germany, England, Long Island, Las Vegas, Denmark, New Jersey, San Diego, San Francisco, Peru, Quebec, Poland, Florida, Australia, Denmark. The list goes on and on and on. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got a lot of fun to have today with a lot of information to share today with each and every one of you, all about the truth behind the global fog, nature's secret, or something darker. I want to remind you all to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click that little bell button. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do so and make sure to click that bell button to be notified anytime I come on live. We all know that these big media corporations and social media corporations do some weird things with trying to hide and censor certain individuals. So if you do that, you will know every single time I come on live. With that being said, I want to remind you all to also follow me on Instagram. There's a link pinned in the live chat. There's a link in the description below this video. And you can also join me on Telegram for daily updates. There's a link in the description below this video. I do have to give a disclaimer for this video to make sure that I'm not fact-checked for any reason. And that is, this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. All content is speculative and not presented as fact. Viewers are encouraged to research and form their own conclusions. You got that? Now I'm in the clear. I can say whatever I want. So we're going to be diving into what this is all about. One last thing before I do. On January 11th, a brand new episode of Conversations with Ray on Unified TV and exclusively on Unified TV is coming out for all Unified TV members, called Angels and Demons. You can download the Unified TV app or go to unified.tv, spelled just like that behind me, UNIFYD.tv, to stream the newest episode of Conversations with Ray called Angels and Demons. Here is a little preview of what to expect. And it's not working. One second. Give me one moment, guys. We're going to pick this up right here. There we go. Okay, let me share my screen. Angels and demons, God and the devil. I want to talk about that for a second.
Demons, or Satan, if you want to call it that, do exist. All those families and the elite we're talking about, most of them are Satan worshippers. Take what's happening today. Look at the schools. Look what they're doing to the children. They're trying to turn them into something else that they're not. They're trying to destroy the family structure. On top of this, you can take a child and poison them. They're doing it to all of us. But this is for their own agenda. That's demons. That's evil. And they're starting with the children. Everything is free will. Satan is us.
Angels and Demons exclusively on Unified TV. Make sure to check it out. It's a very, very powerful excerpt, a very powerful episode, conversation, and segment. I look forward to hearing more from you guys after you watch it on January 11th, exclusively on Unified TV. Now, with that being said, let's dive right into the topic at hand, the truth behind the global fog, nature's secret, or something darker. And I think we all understand at this point that it is probably something darker, although you guys got the disclaimer, so you know that you have to form your own conclusions. I am presenting everything that I have. You guys can come down to your own conclusions. I'm going to show you guys a video just to set the scene over here so you guys understand what we're dealing with. For anybody who doesn't know what we're dealing with, this is a little compilation of what the news has to say about this mysterious fog. Check this out.
Low visibility in spots due to some dense morning fog.
Tonight we've got fog along the river and into western Iowa, zero visibility.
Which is being impacted not only by the fog that still seems to be fairly dense at this hour.
Outside Heathrow Airport, the air traffic control tower is barely visible. Emerging from the fog, this plane is one of the flights that made it.
Now, before we dive in, we've already started diving in. But I want you guys to keep your eyes and ears open for the whole plane situation, because I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's going on lately. There's a lot of weird things having to do with planes lately, a lot of crashes happening lately. And it just so happens that all of this is happening right after this whole drone incident. And nobody knows exactly what they are. A lot of people say that it has something to do with scanning for stolen nuclear warheads. That's a crazy thought if that's true. But I don't believe that's a coincidence. It may be. I don't believe in coincidences. I do not believe that it is a coincidence that after the drone situation, suddenly all this fog comes in. And nobody knows what's going on, but a lot of people say it has a chemical smell and a lot of people are getting sick. And it just so happens to be happening all around the world. That's a very weird thing. Now, this is connected to many things that I'm going to bring up later on in this live stream, things having to do with the CIA. One project is called Operation Seaspray, which I'll tell you more about shortly. Another one is called Operation Span, an operation that was done in, I believe, France in 1951 that I will share more information on with you guys soon. And the other topic that I want you guys to keep in mind is something called smart dust. And yes, that's exactly what you heard. Smart dust is what we're talking about here. Now, before we dive into those topics, I want to show you a few more videos. This one has to do with the fog, what it looks like in Canada, Florida, Georgia, and the United Kingdom. Now, you guys have all seen real fog before, and never in the history of anything when it comes to fog has there ever been anything of such particles, the size of what we're seeing in the so-called fog that we're seeing around the world today. Now, check this out to understand what I mean by that. This is in Toronto, Canada. St. Augustine, Florida. Georgia in the United States. London in the United Kingdom. Isn't it interesting how it looks the same all over the world? But what's even more interesting is that it looks the same in such a way that we've never seen fog before. I don't know about you guys, but I've seen fog quite a few times in my life. That's not what fog looks like. That's kind of weird. It's weird because it is not what fog looks like. Yes, fog has particles in it made of water vapor, but that looks like a whole lot more than just water vapor. Now, in this video that I'm going to show you, you're going to hear more about, and future videos, by the way, the fog smelling like chemicals and sickness to follow. And shortly, you're going to understand how this is connected to certain projects that happened in the past and how this might be another scenario just like that.
So you're telling me that an abnormal fog pops up all over the United States and is being reported in Europe as well, with these particles that are flying around that are not snow or moisture, have a chemical smell, and are leaving a white residue in some areas. And some people who have been exposed to the fog are falling ill with the same illness of inflamed sinuses, can't sleep, loss of appetite, and people think this is just a normal cold and flu and has nothing to do with this abnormal fog? Okay.
I mean, think about it. It's crazy. It's something that has never been seen before. And it's connected to so many things that up until today, you probably weren't aware of, things that are going to be shared in just a moment. This video, and you're going to see quite a few videos, about 8 of them, of different people around the world not connected to each other, all talking about the same thing and reporting about the same thing. This is a man speaking about geoengineering, chemtrails, the potential of UFOs or UAPs. And my question is, once again, is it a coincidence that all of this is happening right after that whole drone situation around the world? Now, what am I talking about? Here is the video. And throughout this live stream, you're going to see a lot of videos because I don't just want it to be me speaking. I want you to see actual firsthand experiences all around the world.
Has anybody else noticed it's been foggy for days now, and the internet never fails to let me know what's happening? The first thing I saw said this is all down to geoengineering. What's that? I have no idea. Another thing I saw said it's down to chemtrails. If you don't know what chemtrails are, if you look at an airplane flying over and you see like water vapor coming out the back, a lot of people believe that's something dodgy by the government. Hey! Now, another theory that is quite interesting is the government doesn't want you to see what's in the sky. Now, I'm not too sure what that means, but one thing the fog did stop me seeing was the horse racing was on ITV. Couldn't even see the horses running. Weird. And then another theory, which is the obvious one, UFOs causing all this fog. And there are some people saying it could just be fog. A lot of different opinions. What do you think's causing all this fog?
Back to the disclaimer. I urge you guys to come down to your own conclusions. I do not think that this has to do in any way, when it comes to the fog specifically, of UFOs leaving some sort of residue. I don't buy that. I'll tell you what I think if you wait till the end of this live stream. But first, I want to present some more videos to you so you guys understand what we're dealing with, because people really are getting sick. Now, the video that I'm going to bring up is from a man that shares his experiences. I believe he's in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, but don't hold me to that. And it is making people sick, and it's making people sick all around the world. This is what this man has to say about it.
I have seen no videos on this, so I'm just going to talk about it. The fog. That's right, people. This weird fog shit that has been around for days and is supposedly making people sick. Well, I feel like shit. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what it's looked like in Ohio for days, okay? I've also been getting progressively shittier feeling in the past days. If you guys are going through this and are seeing this, please let me know. Because I just find it really strange, okay, that I was completely fine, and then all of a sudden this weather comes in and I feel like shit. Something's up, y'all. Like something is up. And what I feel is not normal. Like, I feel like my body is panicking. Like, it's going like alarm after alarm after alarm. It's not the flu. It's not a cold. I'm getting hot. I'm getting chills. I feel like I'm going to throw up every 10 minutes. America, tell me if you are going through this and if there is fog.
Now, once again, it's not just America that's going through this, it's all around the world. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because I want you guys to see how far and wide this is and how this is not just one or two people, but many people. This woman reports a road trip that she was on with seeing the same exact fog that we're talking about in 7 different states from Pennsylvania all the way down the coast. Check this out.
What's up with the fog? Everywhere I look, there's posts about fog. I just rode back with my husband from Pennsylvania to Georgia, and let me tell you about what we saw. We crossed 7 states. We went from Pennsylvania to Maryland to West Virginia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, then Georgia. And there was fog in almost every state. Like, yes, there was some weather going on. There was a little rain here and there, but 7 states, like, it's really odd. Everybody's talking about this fog that's making them sick, this fog after these things we've been seeing in the air that we can't talk about. They're spraying stuff from these things, and maybe it's causing some of this illness, and this fog is part of it. There's this thick fog everywhere we went. And when we got to Virginia, a place called Fancy Gap, I think they're known for having some issues with fog, but this was so bad we almost had to pull over the car. Like, we could not see where we were going.
The biggest thing that I would urge you all to pay attention to is not just the fog, but the chemical smell that comes along with it. When fog starts to smell like chemicals, it may not just be fog, it may be something else. And it may be getting people sick, whether intentionally or unintentionally. But I do think it's the first one, but we're going to keep that there. This woman speaks about the connection between the timing of this fog and all these airplane crashes that we're seeing that we've never seen in such a short period of time. Check this out.
I don't know if it's just me, but for the last few days, I have been having this weird feeling like something big is about to happen, right? Like this weird feeling of impending doom. I have been having this crazy feeling like in my belly. I don't know what it is, okay? To be brutally honest, I feel like something is already happening. And here's why. For the last few days, there have been crazy reports of dense, thick fog in many states all over America, in addition to the UK. Now, this is not your regular fog because a lot of people have been reporting that they have been seeing some weird type of mist coming out of the sky with this fog, okay? In addition to that, there have been 4 plane crashes, y'all, within the last 5 days, okay? 3 of those plane crashes occurred within the last 24 hours. You had one on Christmas Day in Kazakhstan, and then within the last 24 hours, you had one in South Korea, Nova Scotia, as well as Norway. In addition to that, y'all, so many people have been reporting this weird sickness, where as though they're having muscle soreness, sore throat, body aches, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, the whole 9. And they said that this sickness had just been coming out of nowhere. I don't know about you, but I feel like something big is happening or about to happen, and these people just are not telling us. What are your thoughts?
I like how everybody asks, what are your thoughts? I do want to hear all of your thoughts. If you can start writing them in the comments and maybe share your firsthand experiences, that would be awesome, because beyond what I just showed you, I think it's important for people to be able to share their own experiences and see what they've been seeing. But again, share what they've been seeing. But again, it is super weird that all of this is happening right after the drone situation, right before a major inauguration of somebody that certain individuals in power didn't want to come in. I do not think it's a coincidence. Now, I know that there's some of you around the world that may be saying, listen, Jason, maybe it's just a bunch of different things happening at the same time. We live in a big world. There are many factors. Not everything needs to be connected. I can assure you one thing. I may not know how they're all connected, but I can assure you that everything is connected to everything one way or another, especially when it comes to anomalies that happen one after the other after another. Now, what the hell could this be? And here's where we get into the fun part, because so far you've just been hearing what people have to say of their firsthand experiences. A lot of you have asked me, Jason, what do you think that this is? And I'm not going to say it definitively for reasons that I'm sure you all understand. But I will share certain things that I think everybody needs to know about that I do not think the world is aware of right now. And the first one has to do with something called Operation Seaspray. Now, for those of you who haven't heard about it, or if you live in San Francisco, maybe you have. Operation Seaspray, let me just share this the right way, is very interesting. It's even disclosed, declassified, and this is what it says. Operation Seaspray was a 1950, pay attention to the year, 1950 U.S. Navy secret biological warfare experiment in which 2 bacterias were sprayed over the San Francisco Bay Area in California in order to determine how vulnerable a city like San Francisco may be to a bioweapon attack, killing at least one American and sickening at least 10 more. Starting on September 20th, 1950, and continuing for a week up until September 27th, the U.S. Navy released the two types of bacteria from a ship off the shore of San Francisco. Based on results from monitoring equipment at 43 locations around the city, the Army determined that San Francisco had received enough of a dose for nearly all of the city's 800,000 residents at the time to inhale at least 5,000 of the particles. This is within the range of infectivity for anthrax. Now, here's what I just told you, and here's what this just disclosed. In 1950, the U.S. Navy released a biological warfare weapon on its own people in the United States and killed some of them. And it looked like fog with particles in it that people were inhaling that got them sick. Now, here's where it gets interesting. A year later, and here's my theory, but I'm going to show you the fact first. A year later, this happened. This is called Project Span. 1951, I may be butchering this, but Pont Saint Esprit, I'm definitely butchering it, mass poisoning. The 1951 mass poisoning, known in French as that, took place on August 15th, 1951, in the small town called Pont Saint something in southern France. More than 250 people were involved, including 50 people interned in asylums, and there were 7 deaths. A foodborne illness was suspected. Among these, it was originally believed to be a case of cursed bread. A majority of academic sources, blah, blah, blah. Let me explain to you exactly what happened here and what Project Span is, because there was a whistleblower from the CIA that came out to expose this, and he actually wrote a book about it. Project Span, otherwise known as the mass poisoning that you just saw in France, was basically the CIA trying to understand what happens when you basically put people without their consent on higher doses of LSD, and if they can control their minds. Think about it like Project MK Ultra. Pay attention to the dates of when all of this happened. Project MK Ultra was in 1953. And it was halted in 1973, which did the same exact thing on Americans from the CIA in their own country. Not that it makes it better that they're doing it to people that are outside of the United States or not American citizens. They're still human beings, and you don't do that. But what am I trying to get to here? What I'm trying to get to is there have been documented times and declassified times in our recent history over the past 70 years and change. And I just showed you 3 of them. Well, I showed you 2, but I'll show you the third in a moment. One is Operation Seaspray in 1950. The U.S. Navy releasing certain particles to be inhaled by individuals in San Francisco to see how strong the bioweapon is, killing people and making people sick. 1 year later, they did the same thing outside of the U.S., probably because people said, hey, why are you doing this in your own country to your own people? So they said, you know what, let's do it in France. So they did that. They got caught on that one. And then 2 years after that, in 1953, they did the same thing they did in France, only not through bread, and they called it Project MK Ultra. It was a human experimentation program designed and undertaken by the United States Central Intelligence Agency, otherwise known as the CIA, to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used during interrogations to weaken individuals and force confessions through brainwashing and psychological torture. Do you understand how crazy that is? Project MK Ultra began in 1953 and was halted in 1973. In my opinion, it was never halted. It was just changed in terms of its expression. It's still going on today. We call it the mainstream media that slowly but surely is not so mainstream anymore. They use harmonics. They use drugs. They use many different things to take over individuals. And in this case, they were using chemical compounds, but beyond that, electroshocks, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, verbal and sexual abuse, and other forms of torture. The CIA did it against their own people, which just goes to show you these individuals in power do not value human life, whether you are a citizen of their country or not. That's just an illusion. That's just a facade. And that's something that we, as the people of the world, as citizens of this world, needs to start looking through, need to start understanding that no, there is something else going on here. Now, here's what's interesting. There's something called smart dust. And I'm not going to say that what we're seeing in this so-called fog around the world right now is smart dust, but it may be, it may not be. But I want you guys to be aware of it so you know that it exists. Here it is. Smart dust is a system of many tiny micro electromechanical systems, otherwise known as MEMS, such as sensors, robots, or other devices that can detect, for example, light, temperature, vibration, magnetism, or chemicals. They are usually operated on a computer network wirelessly and are distributed over some area to perform tasks, usually sensing through radio frequency identification. Without an antenna of much greater size, the range of tiny smart dust communication devices is measured in a few millimeters, and they may be vulnerable to electromagnetic disablement and destruction by microwave exposure. Now, if I just told you this, it sounds like it's out of a movie and it doesn't exist. But here we understand that smart dust was already created in 1992. In the 90s, these things were created, and today it's a whole other ballgame of what we're dealing with and the advancements of what smart dust can now do today. So again, I'm not saying that it is definitively smart dust. What I am saying is we got to start connecting some dots here. We got to start asking ourselves, hey, what the hell is going on? How do we make a change? And we can only make that change through awareness. Now, what I just showed you is interesting because I want to recap this for a second. Number one, I showed you the news speaking about the fog. Number two, I showed you about 7 different videos of individuals on the floor explaining their personal firsthand experiences, many saying that it smells like chemicals, and many reporting that they get sick after being in it. Not to mention that fog does not look like this, although that's what we're calling it. And on top of that, there are 3 different projects that show you that through the use of certain chemical agents, specifically Operation Seaspray in the 1950s, in San Francisco around the Bay Area, done by the United States Navy themselves against their own people to test a bioweapon against their own people, through what was perceived as fog with particles in it. Operation Seaspray, Project Span, what was done in 1951 in southern France with LSD being put into the bread of innocent individuals living in a beautiful village that suddenly started getting sick. And Project MKUltra shows us one very simple thing. People in power do not value human lives. They value power and control. Now the question is, what the hell can we do about it? Or are we helpless and hopeless against these individuals? And the simple answer is, of course, we can do something about it. But to do something about it, we have to be aware of it. Because when we're aware of it, we foil their plans. And I say this over and over and over again, hoping that the very things we're speaking about will never happen, because enough people are able to be aware of something, speak out about it, and expose the individuals in power today. That's my job. That's all of your jobs as well. It's not just me sitting behind a camera talking on YouTube to say, hey, here's what's going on. It's you guys taking that information and sharing it with the world. All 2,000 of you watching this live right now, if all of you share it with 10, 20 people, even people that don't quite understand what's going on, millions of people will end up getting it. Millions of people will be aware, and the butterfly effect of that is huge. In my opinion, this fog is nothing more than something that is being tested on human populations in not 1 or 2 countries, but places all around the world. If I were you, and if I were in an area that has this fog, I would stay inside and stay away from it at all costs, because it won't last forever. It may last a few days and it will move on. People are getting sick. Don't be afraid of those people. Help them. Because that's how we become immune to everything, by helping each other. That's what we learn from The Secret Life of Trees. It's a book all about how trees interact with each other. And it's something that goes completely against what we were taught in school growing up. We were taught that trees compete with each other, and one tree tries to outgrow the other one to take more sunlight so the other tree can't grow. That's not true. Trees communicate with each other. Trees actually communicate with each other both above ground, that's why they touch each other, over big roads and wide roads, that's why you have those canopies, and underground as well. So they can energetically and physically communicate with each other. And when one tree is lacking something, the other tree actually gives that very thing that the other tree is lacking to that tree that's lacking it. Imagine us humans did just that. Imagine us humans sat here and said, what do you need that you don't have, that I have, that I can give you? That is how we change the world. Instead of saying, you're sick, stay away from me, I never want to be with you, how can I help you? How can I support you? How can I be here to help you be better, to help you feel healthier, to help you get stronger? Because when you are stronger and when you use your strength to make other people stronger, that means that we live in a collective community, a collective reality of strong, healthy, and powerful individuals. And nobody can take over or disempower strong, healthy, and powerful individuals. So don't be afraid of what you're seeing right now. Use it to empower you. Use it to make your will to not just survive, but thrive a whole lot stronger, a whole lot greater, a whole lot more powerful. And that's a life lesson that goes into not just this situation with this mysterious fog that is definitely not nature's secret, but most definitely something darker and more sinister. That's a life lesson that can be applied to every aspect of our lives. Use every obstacle in your life to get stronger, to get greater, and to empower yourself. And most importantly, use your ability to think and comprehend information. Use your mouth and your mind to share that with the world. It is not up to you how somebody will receive something, but it is up to you to at least do your part of the equation and share that very thing. How it is received is up to the receiver. You, my friends, are the transmitters. Do whatever you can to share and to transmit that information to as many people around the world, no matter what they say, think, or feel about you. One way that you could do that is take this video that you're watching right now and share it with everybody that you know around the world, regardless of their political views, regardless of their views on the economy, regardless of their views on pandemics, regardless of their views or anything, they are still people. And if we want to win this spiritual war, we must be aware. So I urge you all to share this far and wide with everybody. Keep your eyes and ears open to understand, first and foremost, that everything is connected to everything. And if you can keep that in your mind and start looking at the world in such a way that everything is connected with everything, guess what? You will be able to start seeing how things are connected to each other that you were never able to see beforehand. I will leave you all with this. Although we are in a spiritual war, we are winning that war. And when I say we, I'm talking about the light. I'm talking about goodness. I'm talking about greatness. I'm talking about givingness. I'm talking about forgiveness. I'm talking about judgment. I'm talking about all those things. The light will always win. The light has always won. The question is, in what period of time? And that's where we come in. We can make it prevail a whole lot quicker, a whole lot faster, if we just take action and share. That's what Unified TV is about. That's what this YouTube channel is about. That's what everything that I do is all about. Spreading awareness regardless of the consequences and regardless of the costs of spreading such information, knowledge, wisdom, and awareness. With that, I want to remind you all one more time, the newest episode of Conversations with Ray that once again is intended to spread awareness around the world and raise awareness, universal awareness and collective awareness all around the world, is coming out in 5 days, January 11th, on Unified TV. You can download the Unified TV app or go to unified.tv, spelt like that, UNIFYD.tv. Here's a little preview one more time because I'm super excited about this episode specifically, and we will have some closing statements. Let me just make sure that the volume is connected so you guys can hear it very well. Just give me one moment. Here it is. Check this out. Angels and demons, God and the devil. I want to talk about that for a second.
Demons, or Satan, if you want to call it that, do exist. All those families and the elite we're talking about, most of them are Satan worshippers. Take what's happening today. Look at the schools. Look what they're doing to the children. They're trying to turn them into something else that they're not. They're trying to destroy the family structure. On top of this, you can take a child and poison them. They're doing it to all of us. But this is for their own agenda. That's demons. That's evil. And they're starting with the children. Everything is free will. Satan is us.
I'm very, very excited for this new episode to come out and be shared with everybody. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. I'm excited to hear your feedback. I want to say thank you guys so much for just being incredible. Thank you guys for just being with me on this mission. Thank you guys for believing in me. Thank you guys for sharing this information. I don't know if you've seen, but my YouTube channel has been completely revamped. If you go on my YouTube profile, you will see the Pyramid Code. Part 1 and 2 has already come out. Part 3 is premiering for free for the entire world in an hour and a half today, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Part 4 comes out in 2 days. Then we have the Disclosure series. Then we have, let me remember, the Light System series, all of season 1. Then we have Conversations with Ray. Certain excerpts are going to be shared on YouTube, certain parts of episodes in order. We have the Saving the Children series. We have so much goodness that's happening in 2025 because 2025 is all about giving. It's all about giving unconditionally. And I don't know if you guys have seen Unified TV lately, but it's some powerful stuff. Conspiracy Hour with Andrew is a brand new show on Unified TV that you guys can watch now. Beyond the Matrix is a powerful show starring myself, Elizabeth Lane, Ryan, and Whitney, who are all part of the Unified TV team as well, with integral and amazing roles to keep this platform moving forward. Preparing for Contact is an amazing movie that's so relevant right now for you guys to watch. The Exposed series is an amazing miniseries. The Alex Newman Show is an amazing show that you guys can all watch right now on Unified TV. And it is endless content from Ray to podcasts and discussions to films and documentaries to different original series like CIA Declassified, where you can learn more about Operation Seaspray as well. We have a brand new show coming soon with James O'Keefe himself on the platform. We've got news and current events, including Over the Edge, the Nomad Report, the Ivory Hecker Show, the Whistleblowers, and so much more. And amazing content for all of you to learn from, become aware from, and share and spread with the world. All of that is on unified.tv or simply download the Unified TV app. I want to say thank you guys once again so much for being a part of this. Thank you guys for supporting this. I love you all with all my heart. I know that I've been quiet before this new year, but this new year has a completely different me coming forth with a whole lot more information, a whole lot more live streams, a whole lot more videos, and a whole lot more awareness to share with the world. More of Rays of Light will be shared in the near future as well. There is a translation phase that I haven't even begun because there's so much going on throughout my life and throughout everything having to do with Unified and so much more. But we will get there soon. Thank you guys very much for being a part of this. Share this video far and wide and stay out of that fog. It's not what you think it is. It's definitely not regular fog. I believe it is connected to the operations and the projects that I just showed you guys over this entire live stream. Stay away from it, let it pass, and go out in full faith once it's all over. I love you all very much, and I will see you all soon on my new and revamped YouTube channel. Make sure to follow me on Instagram with the link pinned in the live chat above or in the description below. Make sure to join me on Telegram for daily updates with the link in the description below. And most importantly, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed, so you guys can be notified and see all the new releases and live streams that are about to come out on this channel. Thank you all very much. Have a beautiful, beautiful week ahead, and I will see you all very soon on my YouTube channel. Thank you all. Have a beautiful and blessed week ahead.